Okay, today I want to recap and analyze Week 4's AP Top 25 poll, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kid folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on step milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to recap the top 25 in the AP for Week 4 and talk about the changes after a bloody Saturday that is sure to see some moving and shaking, but we already knew that was going to happen because the Big Ten is eligible for votes in this week's top 25 poll as they are 4 weeks out of starting their season. This was a policy that was instituted by the Associated Press in the poll, which is to say that once you become 4 weeks out from competition, we can consider you for votes in the top 25, which means that a couple weeks from now, or maybe even a week from now, we'll get the Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the MAC also be able to get considered. But right now, what that means is Ohio State is back in, and we'll see what the rest of the Big Ten looks like. And number 1, Clemson, 2-0. They have beaten up on Wake Forest and Citadel. They're also one of the best teams in college football. I see no problems there. Number 2, Alabama dispatched Missouri on the road. Mac Jones looked good. Limited time Bryce Young was out there. He looked good. It was not necessarily the kind of game for which they kept their focus all throughout, but you can understand why. Missouri was not very good. Welcome to the SEC, Eli Drinkwitz. Number 3, Florida. Good jump for Florida, who put together an outstanding game, especially offensively against Ole Miss. In their opener, Kyle Trask, he's getting her early Heisman voting consideration all of a sudden. And Kyle Pitts, that's tight end number 1 over there, had a ridiculous amount of touchdowns in that game. Number 4, Georgia. This was shaky to me because Georgia did not look like the 4th best team in the country against Arkansas yesterday. Arkansas led that game 7-0, 7-2, and 7-5. You even had Arkansas basically run off Dwan Mathis if you're an Arkansas fan. If not, you're watching Dwan Mathis as the starter at Georgia going, yo, man, didn't know you were going to look this bad, because there were people that were actually wondering if Dwan Mathis had just beaten out Jamie Newman for the starting quarterback job. And maybe he was that good. It was very high on Dwan Mathis, but it became apparent after the second series that if JT Daniels was cleared to play, he would have been in there playing because Dwan Mathis couldn't even operate the offense. And he was so bad operating the offense that Stetson Bennett was brought in to replace him and be the starting quarterback. Now, Kirby Smart doesn't really care who the quarterback is. He wants the quarterback to be the guy that wins the job, in the way that Gary Patterson doesn't care who the quarterback is. It's not a quarterback team for him. It's a defensive team. And to that point, Georgia's defense scored points against Arkansas. Arkansas also looked competent, which is all you can ask this year, with Felipe Franks running the offense and Raheem Boyd at tailback. Trey Knox and Trey Burgess are going to be good. Number 5, Notre Dame. They were in a bye. They were supposed to play Wake Forest. They had to cancel the game based on COVID-related stuff. Hope to see them back here, but I don't know that number 5 is where they're going to stick, because number 6 is Ohio State. Back into this thing without a loss and without a win. But on paper, we all expect Ohio State to be in the college football playoff and really have an opportunity to win a national championship. Number 7, Auburn. They got a funky win against Kentucky. I have been out on Bo Nix. I don't believe that dude is a good quarterback, but they play good defense. And against the team that they probably shouldn't have beat by 2 touchdowns, okay, Kentucky's not very good, but Kentucky's also not very bad. In the Big 12, that's probably the 3rd best team in the conference, quite honestly. So we'll see what happens with Auburn, but the thing about Auburn that is frustrating for folks that want to dump all the Auburn stock is that they just continue to win games. They just find ways to win, and I am really interested to see what Seth Williams becomes. Number 8, Miami destroyed Florida State in the Saturday night game. A second straight showcase for them, in which De'Aaron King looked good. Rhett Lashley's offense is moving right along. They are 3-0, and they look kind of for real, but they get Clemson this weekend. I think Clemson's going to hand Miami its head. So we'll see how long they can stay, because if they beat Clemson, they vault into the top 3 easily, right? That's going to be a team to watch. Number 9 is Texas. Need to go into overtime to beat the Texas Tech team that barely beat Houston Baptist 35-33. They did it on the road, though, tying the game at 56 and then going to get the win in overtime. Offense did not look good at all for Mike Yurcich. I would be worried if I'm a Texas fan. Number 10, Penn State. I don't think that this is a good look for them. I don't know what they have defensively, especially with Micah Parsons no longer being a part of that group. I don't trust Sean Clifford at quarterback. I like Noah Cain in the backfield, but we'll see what Penn State's actually able to do when they start up the season. Central Florida, 2-0, shaky against East Carolina at times, beat a Georgia Tech team, but at number 11, I think we're all fine there. They're probably going to end up getting into some sort of a clash, either with SMU or Memphis if they can ever play football again. Certainly Cincinnati, who got a really good win against Army yesterday. Talk about them in a bit. North Carolina at number 12, 1-0. Did not look good until the fourth quarter against Syracuse. They're off this week. They're probably off next week, and then they'll go into their conference play. Then we got Texas A&M, who at number 13, 1-0. Not really in on Kellen Mond and Texas A&M to be much of anything. At this point, I'm willing to rank Mississippi State ahead of Texas A&M. Oregon at number 14, I think it's a good football team. They lost Javon Holland to opt out just yesterday, but my goodness, Justin Flo at middle linebacker is going to be one of the next great ones. Noah Sewell also on that defense. You got Anthony Brown or Tyler Shuck at quarterback. Joe Moorhead pulling the strings in the offense. Interested to see what Mario Cristobal's kids can do in a limited schedule. Cincinnati at number 15, 2-0. Austin Peay and Army. Army's a good football team, so that's a really great win for them. Marcus Freeman did a hell of a job coordinating a defense to keep that flex bone from ripping them apart. Mississippi State at number 16 with a great win against LSU, 44-34. LSU has twice as many blue chippers, that is 4 and 5 stars, than Mississippi State, and KJ Costello still goes for 623 yards passing. You had 2 receivers with over 150 yards catching. One of those guys is running back in Kylan Hill. I like Mississippi State. I like them even more that they handed LSU their head. Number 17, Oklahoma State is 2-0 with a shaky win against Tulsa, and then West Virginia looked like they wanted to give Oklahoma State the business, but kept face planting. Oklahoma State's at 2-0, ahead of Oklahoma at number 18. Precipitous fall from number 3 to number 18. I would have been fine with Oklahoma no longer being a top 25 team because of how they lost that game to Kansas State. You got a 3-touchdown lead in the third quarter, and you give up 24 unanswered in a 38-35 loss at home to Kansas State, who lost to Arkansas State just a couple of weeks ago. Oklahoma's going to have to try to get itself back to good against Iowa State this Saturday. Number 19, Wisconsin. Again, Jim Leonard's defense. And then they're going to line up. They're going to run the ball. I'm fine with this. LSU at number 20. This was the number 6 team in the country last week, or just yesterday, I should say. Miles Brennan does not look like he knows exactly what's supposed to be going on back there. And yeah, you could say that not having Derek Stingley Jr. did not help LSU's defense, but one corner is not going to change all that much for how they got beat. Both Scott Linehan as passing game coordinator along with offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger got some things to fix. Bo Pelini's defense looked good at times. Jabril Cox is going to be a first-round draft pick. Tennessee at number 21 didn't look great against South Carolina, but they did get the win 1-0. Brigham Young might end up going the UCF route of going undefeated, never playing for real opponents, and end up with a national championship. Just destroyed Troy last night. Michigan at number 23. I don't want to know who the quarterback is. Is it Joe Milton, right? Because Dylan McCaffrey's gone. I want to know who's going to be slinging the ball in Josh Gaddis' offense before I make them a top 25 team. Pitt at number 24, 3-0. Kenny Pickett is showing you that he's an NFL quarterback. That's what this is right now. Pitt's also playing outstanding defense. Pitt might make some noise in the ACC this year. Then Memphis at number 25. Memphis at 1-0, having to call off games because of COVID, quarantine, and contact tracing. Others receiving votes, Virginia Tech, Louisiana Lafayette. ULL should be a top 25 team. They're 3-0, man. Minnesota, USC, Kansas State, SMU, Marshall, Baylor, Iowa, Utah, Virginia, Arkansas State, I guess, on the transitive win over Oklahoma, UAB, Washington, Kentucky, Louisville, and Army. Not exactly the kind of top 25 that we're used to seeing, but certainly a top 25. And I forgot to turn the sound on. My bad.